another movie, another project that has like probably the right director, the right cast, and a huge cast is Killers of the Flower Moon. Now, I just want to talk about this very briefly because it kind of came out what the runtime is for this. And everyone's going crazy online about this. It's clocking in at 3 hours and 26 minutes. And at that right now, it is, well, now it's not Scorsese's longest film. Now, The Irishman was still two minutes longer than that. But what people are saying, though, is like theatrical run, because Irishman only had like a short run. This is going to have like a full run. So for his full run, it'll be his longest movie in theaters, but still not his longest movie. But people are going nuts about how it's too long. And, you know, this is, of course, a historical piece. We've talked about in the show. It's coming out October 20th, 2023. And Apple's doing this, too. And it's still not going to be, I don't think it's still going to have the kind of theatrical run as most things. Because, again, it's going to be like released Apple after like a couple weeks. So, I don't know. It's whatever. It's 3 hours and 26 minutes. Most people watch on their couch at home. So, I don't really see a problem with this. Of course, you know, it is too long. GR, you're right. It's too long for a theater, though. I think it's too long. But people are going nuts online, so if you were excited about this, just know, if you're going to the theater, you better hold your pee or find a way to go, find the best spot and go back and see it again. I don't know. But also, speaking of a historical figure, I want to talk about King Charles for a second. And because people love...
Endgame. Wasn't Endgame like 3 hours, 37 minutes? Like...
Yeah, it's true. Yeah, it's true.
There's a lot. I mean, I feel like movies are more often like...
I didn't want to cut you off there.
At the two and a half hour mark is totally normal. Now 3 hours is totally normal for Marvel, DC. Like they don't give a fuck.
This is Scorsese. Like, yeah. I'm sorry. Like, did you watch Wolf of Wall Street? Were you like lost for like? Yeah, it's one of the most brilliant films. I'm sorry, it's 3.5 hours long. I'm like, are you sad about that? I'm like, I was totally engrossed the entire time. Like, if you can hold my attention for 3.5 hours. Scorsese's never made a film that hasn't held my attention for that length of time. I will watch anything that's 3.5 hours from that man. You said The Irishman, brilliant film.
Yeah.
Watched it for 3.5 hours, lost the whole time in it. Great. When a film has poor pacing, when a film has poor direction, when a film has poor whatever, that's when you start to feel it. I don't want to watch 3.5 hours of superheroes bouncing around on the screen. That shit was boring to me. But like when you give me something as brilliantly written as Wolf of Wall Street, I will watch that again for another 3.5 hours. Like, it's about the commitment of the film and what the film's delivering to me. There are films that I watch that I'm like, this runtime's too long. And then there are also films that I watch and I'm like, I needed another hour and a half to this to flesh the story out properly because you didn't give it enough time. I'm like, you have to understand what you're working with and who you're working with. Scorsese is a director who can absolutely give me a 3 hour long film. I will sit in a movie theater. I will not be bored. You have given me continuously non-stop 3 hour films that have shown me repeatedly that I will sit through your films and never be bored. I will absolutely sit through every 3.5 hour long. Scorsese can make 4 hour long movies and I will never complain and I'll never be bored. I will watch a 4 hour long Scorsese film before I'll watch a 2 hour long Lord of the Rings.
Thank you. Thank you.
I don't like I'm sorry. Like,
how about
it's
the extended edition of Lord of the Rings, like with 12 hours of viewing time? How about filming?
I didn't want to get like off subject on this, but like I saw like this when I was reading the notes, and I was like, it's nothing to complain about when it's the right director and it's the right person. Scorsese, please, 5 hour movie, 7 hour movie.
I'm fine with it. I don't understand people go crazy.
Like, this is a real thing that happened. You know what I mean? Like, it's a real thing that happened. And in order to do this story justice, which is a very important part of American history that they don't want to tell us because it makes the Americans look bad. Or the Americans. Like, let's be real. The Native Americans are the Americans. But, like, it sheds, like, a dark light on our history. And people, like, that's why they don't teach that shit. That's why you didn't learn that in history when you were younger. You know, so like it's an important story that needs to be told. And if it takes 3.5 hours to tell it properly, I'm there for it.
And that's what it is.
He's going to give us great casting. They're all going to give stellar performances. They're all going to be up for awards. We're all going to be like wondering which one of them's going to walk away. You know, it's not even going to be questionable. This is not a complainer. This is one of those examples of, yes, please give me a 3 hour film. No more 3 hour Harry Potters. No more 3 hour, Fast and the Furious films. No more superhero films that are 3 hours long. Those are hour and a half long films. Popcorn movies are hour and a half long films. Those don't need to be dragged out long and long and long and long. They keep doing that with that shit. No one wants that. What we do want are 3.5 hour long, well directed, epic pieces by exceptional directors. I want Aronofsky films that are 3 hours. I want Spike Lee films that are 3 hours. I want my proper, well done director films. fleshed out, dragged out, and given me well-directed stories. But I do not need a bunch of franchise IPs dragged through the fucking mud for hours and hours and hours and hours. That's not acceptable. But this, all fucking day. All
Chef's
fucking
kiss
day.
there.
Scorsese, yes.
I agree with you too. I know people want to complain because like, oh, it's too long, but I feel like with you, Lex, the same thing. It's like a lot of times, a lot of movies like this, I'm like, oh, it's just too short. They're not giving it enough time to develop the plot, and they're rushing through things when you have such a phenomenal cast in the story. And something like this, when you have Scorsese doing it, it's like it's just it's going to be great. He's spending his time on it. It's a story that's been needed to be told for a long time. So do it right. Don't rush it.